Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 14th of January 2018. Sorry, 19. Yep, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Monday's afternoon session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few charts, the usual. But before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then guys, let's quickly jump into the chart. Now the first one I want to touch on here is the Dow. Now looking at Dow Jones Industrial Average here, certainly last week the index managed to close just slightly below the psychological 24,000 level, and of course it kind of got held here. Overall, looking at the bigger picture, we can see that it's still trading below this medium-term downside resistance line taken from the highs of October, and of course it's still quite far away from it. And from the shorter-term perspective, it is also trading above its upside support line, this very short-term upside support line taken from the low of December. So for now, of course, we're going to continue being very cautious because, as you can see, last week, for the whole week, the index struggled to overcome this 24,000 level. So, and looking at the cash index right now, we're probably going to, well, not probably, but definitely we're going to open up here with the gap and lower. And of course, this is where we're going to continue targeting this and testing this upside support line because it's very close to it. And even, like I said, the opening price could be a little bit lower here, and probably will be definitely lower here. So keep your eyes on this one, and today keep your eyes on this little short-term upside support line, because if this gets broken, this could open the path towards much lower levels like the 23,530 level, marked here by the lows of the 7th of January and also by the high of the 4th of January. So quite an interesting level this one is. Certainly this will be very interesting to watch if we actually gonna reach the this year's opening price here, which is marked here by the slightly highlighted dashed line here, which is around the 23,058 level. Certainly keep your eyes on that one, but again, probably for now it's going to be very interesting to see how this performs today, and if we're actually going to break this short-term upside support line here. And if we do break this, then yep, further declines could be possible, but the first level that we're going to target is the 23,530 level. If suddenly this reverses back up here and pushes higher towards the 24,000 level, of course this is the one to watch, because a nice good pop above it could open the path towards slightly higher levels. Now I do have this area here marked at around 24,125. Certainly in a way this is a bit of a tentative level here, because this was last time it acted as a very nice area of support here back in October, and certainly this now could become a nice area of resistance. But that's what I'm saying, it's a bit of a tentative one because it kind of got violated here in the past. So in a way you could keep it just on your radar just to see how it's going to trade around this level. But to be honest, if we're going to get a nice pop here above the 24,000, then yep, the path towards much higher levels, initially aiming for the 100 EMA here, which is around the R2 for today, and certainly that's around the 24,200 level, maybe just slightly above that. But to be honest, a much better area of potential resistance that we're keeping a close eye on here is the 24,670 level, approximately there, which coincides here with this 200 EMA shown here as the black line. So for now guys, certainly judging by the picture that we're seeing right now in the cash index, yep, the index will probably open in the much lower, let's say here, but still keep a close eye on this upside, the short-term upside support line. Let's see if it holds. If it doesn't, then further declines could be possible. Jumping into one crypto that I really wanted to quickly show you guys, and that's Ethereum. Now, looking at this, and before I actually jump into the 4-hour chart, let's have a look at the daily. You can see that today we're kind of slightly trying to recover a bit of some of the lost grounds, but yesterday, you can see on Sunday, the candle was to the downside, a very strong downside candle. Of course, comparing it to the previous 2 days, certainly it moved from the 125 area and managed to reach the 115. Now the big question here is, of course, are we gonna continue traveling lower here, or is this something that is enough for Ethereum, and maybe we could see a push back up here? Now, certainly for now, we're going to be more on the safe side than the cautious side, because as you can see, looking at this 4-hour chart, it tried to push higher today, but failed to overcome this pivot here, which is around the 118 area approximately there. So certainly from here, it's still trading below this pivot, and to be honest, the price structure here is still kind of it seems that it wants to travel a little bit lower. But to be honest, we're not going to over speculate on this. We're just going to keep an eye on some of the key support areas. So a nice good drop below the 112.50 level, marked by the lows that we saw here back in December on the 27th and the 28th of December. So a nice good drop below this below this 112.50 level could open the path towards the next potential area of support near the 105 area, which was marked here by the lows of the 21st of December. Certainly further declines are possible as well, but the only thing is I just wanted to quickly show you guys as well is, if you remember a few kind of weeks ago where I was talking about Ethereum, or actually let's put it that way, in December when I was talking about Ethereum, basically I was talking about this little range that we saw this crypto trading in, so from which it successfully broke out through the upside and continued to push higher, where it managed to reach the area around the 160. So if this continues to travel lower right now, if we start seeing these drops here below the 112.50 initially, and then of course the 105 level doesn't hold, then well, we might as well test the upper side of this range that the crypto was trading at, and that was around the 96.50 level. So keep your eyes on that one, but of course this is something for more for the near term, but from the very short term perspective, still keep your eyes on these key potential areas of support, the 112.50 and a little bit lower, the 105. Let's see how that performs around there. On the upside here, well, if this suddenly pushes back up here, back above the 118 level, now this will be very interesting to watch, because certainly we could see this one traveling a little bit higher here towards the area where it was during this weekend. But to be honest, for a better confirmation of the upside here, we would need to see a nice good pop above the 125.50 level, marked by the highs. Let's put it that way, the highs of yesterday. So a nice good pop above this 125.50 level could open the path towards slightly higher levels, and this is where of course we will aim for the 140 level, or even actually going back all the way towards the 150 or 160. But for now guys, until we're seeing these breaks of these key support and resistance levels, we're just going to stay neutral and continue observing the price action. Jumping into a few pairs now, let me just go back into the daily and jump into GBPCHF. Now I do apologize for a bit of a noisy chart here, but nevertheless this is what I wanted to keep an eye on here, and kind of keep to show you guys here what I'm talking about. So basically, a few weeks ago as well, I was talking about the GBPCHF, and we were still kind of trading around this range here, inside this range, slightly out of it, but then kind of got back into it. So at the same time, we're also trading below this little short-term downside resistance line that got broken now, and got broken last week. Let's put it to be more precise. So now today we're seeing a bit of a retracement back down, where it managed to test the upper side of this range that the pair was trading in, and certainly if this doesn't get back into this range, this could prove to be a nice good bouncing ground for this pair, where it could lead towards much higher levels, where we could then aim for a potential test of the 1.2840 area, approximately there, 1.2835, something like that, not far from this 200 EMA basically. So in a way, for now guys, keep on monitoring this level here around the 125.90, which is the upper side of this previous range that the pair was trading in. Certainly a big day tomorrow for the British pound. Be very careful with that. But again, like I said, if this continues to hold, this level, the 125.90 level continues to hold, we could see a nice reversal back to the upside here, especially if we're going to get a nice pop above the 126.45. So this quite an interesting level of resistance here. Certainly got violated today, but you can see that the pairs managed to push back the pair quickly down and push back below this level. So again, this level here, the 126.45, also could be that that level for you to watch, just to be on the safe side. If this pair reverses back up here and pushes above the 126.45, this could be that gateway towards slightly higher levels. But for now, of course, be very careful, especially like I said with the pound tomorrow. Let's see how that plays out, but just something for you to keep in mind. Jumping into Aussie dollar, now looking at this daily chart today, it's a bit of a down day for the Aussie dollar, and certainly at the moment where it seems that it wants to continue climbing higher. Now, of course, if you start drawing some trend lines here, in a way, if you take the peak from here, let me just quickly put this one right there. Of course, it's a bit of a tentative one. We're missing out a few. Well, it's kind of not hitting any of the areas here, so it's a bit of a, like I said, that's why it's a bit of a tentative one, so only has 2 touches, but still something for you guys to keep an eye on. Certainly wire retracing a little bit to the downside, but from the very short-term perspective, continue monitoring it, because this, of course, now is kind of forming a bit of a bearish scenario here, bearish indication. We could see a bit of a slide here further down. The only problem is with these levels is that if this even goes down a little bit, it does have some good potential areas of support. Let me just clear the chart a little bit, guys, from the previous levels that I had marked, and this is, of course, the first one that we're going to keep on monitoring. It's the 0.7145 area, approximately there, marked by the too thick, and there we go. So marked by the highs of the 7th of January and also by the lows of the 10th of January. So good potential area of support here, but if this doesn't hold, further declines could be possible. Now, of course, this is where we will aim for this little area here, around the 0.7115. Certainly could be a nice good potential area of support, but if that doesn't hold, well, further declines could be possible again. We'll aim for much lower levels, but for now, judging by this, even though we could see maybe a bit of a slide here back down, still this could be maybe seen as a little correction here, because if this pair wants to travel a little bit higher, or even actually test this downside resistance line, this long-term downside resistance line that I showed you on the daily chart, this little pullback could be a great opportunity for the bulls to jump in and push this pair back up here towards the 0.7240 level, or even higher, like I said, towards this downside resistance line. So for now, on this one, be very careful. Keep an eye on the 0.7150 level first. Let's see if this actually gets reached. This, like I said, this could be a nice potential area of support, and if it fails to drop below this level, then yep, it could be a good opportunity for the bulls to step in. Jumping into one last pair I want to quickly show you, and that's USDCAD. Now on the daily chart today we're seeing a bit of a climb here higher. Certainly it's still weak, looking weak. You can see that we had this nice rising channel here initially, but after it went above it here and managed to break through the upper side of this one, still it failed to overcome the 136.60 level, and since then we saw this nice strong reversal to the downside, where we managed to not only get inside this rising channel again, but also actually pierce through the lower side of it and move lower, so where it found good support near the 131.80 level. So this is going to be our level to watch, especially from the short-term perspective. So looking at the 4-hour chart, today it is trading above the pivot. Certainly that is a bit of a positive sign, so we could see maybe a bit of a corrective move here back to the upside. But to be honest, we still should be very careful with this one, because it has an equal chance of going lower, because you can see that the strong momentum here to the downside, how the strong sell-off that we saw here could continue, and especially if we're going to see some good areas of resistance here, and one of those is of course the 133.10 level, marked here by the highs of near the highs of the, or should I say, the intraday high of the 8th of January, and certainly also could get held here by one of these EMAs here. But to be honest, the stronger one could be seen here near the 200 EMA, and that's near the 133.70. So even though we could see maybe a bit of a climb back up here, still to be honest, the overall, looking at this picture, it's looking more bearish than bullish. So we could see maybe a travel higher, a test of the 133.70 level, not far from the this lower side of the rising channel that got kind of in a way got broken, and now it's already violated. So we could see maybe like a test of around here, around the 133.70, and if it fails to kind of drive further up here, then we could see the bear stepping in, pulling this one back down here, and even actually going back towards the recent lows that we saw here around the 131.80 level. Okay guys, I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you want to join me tomorrow morning in my Trader's Espresso, and that's 7 o'clock GMT time. But for now, I hope you have a fantastic trading day. For those who are still trading, for those who are finished for the day, have a nice evening. Bye bye.